We've all seen the movie Home Alone, right? Little Kevin McAllister outsmarts a couple of clumsy burglars with hilarious booby traps. It's a holiday classic, a feel-good family comedy. But what if the reality of being home alone wasn't so funny? What if, instead of bumbling thieves, the person trying to get in was something far more sinister? Tonight, we're stepping away from the Hollywood fantasy and into the chilling reality. These are 3 true Home Alone horror stories that actually happened. Stories that will make you double-check your locks and question every creak and groan your house makes when you re-by yourself. So turn down the lights, get comfortable, and prepare to be terrified. Our first story takes us to a quiet suburban neighborhood, the kind where you think nothing bad ever happens. A 16-year-old girl, let's call her Chloe, was home alone one evening while her parents were out for dinner. It was a typical night. She was doing homework, listening to music, occasionally texting her friends. Around 9 p.m., the family dog, a usually calm golden retriever named Max, started barking frantically at the back door. Chloe went to check, peering through the peephole, but saw nothing. Just a dark, empty backyard. She shushed the dog, figuring it was just a raccoon or a stray cat. She went back to her room, but Max wouldn't settle down. He kept whining and pacing between the back door and Chloe's bedroom. A few minutes later, her phone rang. It was an unknown number. Hesitantly, she answered. There was just silence on the other end. "Hello?" she said, annoyed. Still nothing. She was about to hang up when she heard a faint, raspy whisper. It was just one word. Soon, a shiver went down her spine. She slammed the phone down, her heart pounding. Was it a prank call? It had to be. But the dog's behavior, the weird call, it was all starting to feel very wrong. She tried to tell herself she was overreacting, but she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. She decided to check the back door one more time. As she crept down the hallway, she noticed something that made her blood run cold. The small rug by the back door was scrunched up, and there were muddy footprints leading away from the door, towards the hallway closet. Footprints that hadn't been there before. Max was now growling low, his eyes fixed on the closet door. Chloe's breath hitched in her throat. Someone had been inside. And they were still there. She backed away slowly, grabbing her phone and Max's leash. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely dial 911. As she whispered her address to the operator, she heard a sound from the closet. A slow, deliberate creak as the doorknob began to turn. She didn't wait to see what would happen next. She bolted out the front door, with Max right behind her, and didn't stop running until she was halfway down the street, where she waited for the police to arrive. When they searched the house, they found the closet empty. But the back door lock had been picked, and there was a kitchen knife missing from the block. The intruder was gone, but the message was clear. Chloe was lucky. She listened to her dog and her instincts. Our second story is even more unsettling because it happened in broad daylight. A young man named Daniel was in his early 20s, living alone in a small ground-floor apartment. One sunny afternoon, he was relaxing on his couch, watching a movie. He had the sliding glass door to his small patio open to let in the fresh air. Suddenly, he heard a gentle knock. Not on his front door, but on the glass of the sliding door. He looked over and saw a woman standing on his patio. She was elderly, with a kind, wrinkled face and a sweet smile. She was holding a plate of cookies. Daniel was a little surprised, but not alarmed. He slid the screen door open. "Can I help you?" he asked. The woman's smile widened. "I just baked these," she said, her voice soft and grandmotherly. "I'm your new neighbor from upstairs, and I wanted to introduce myself." Daniel thought it was a lovely gesture. He thanked her and took the plate. "It's nice to meet you," he said. "I'm Daniel." The woman just kept smiling, her eyes fixed on him. "I know," she said. The reply was a little odd, but he brushed it off. He chatted with her for a minute, then said he had to get back to his movie. As he started to close the screen, she put a hand out to stop him. Her sweet smile vanished, replaced by a cold, hard stare. "You shouldn't leave your door open like this," she said, her voice dropping to a low, menacing tone. Anyone could just walk in. Her hand, which looked frail a moment ago, now had a surprisingly strong grip on the doorframe. Anyone at all. A chill went through Daniel. This wasn't a friendly neighbor. Something was very, very wrong. He firmly told her he was busy and tried to close the door, but she wouldn't budge. "Let me in, Daniel," she demanded, her voice no longer soft but raspy and insistent. "I just want to talk." He slammed the glass door shut and locked it, his heart hammering against his ribs. The woman's face contorted with rage. She started banging on the glass, her frail-looking fists hitting the pane with shocking force. She was screaming his name, her voice a horrifying shriek. He ran to his phone and called the police. While he was on the line, he watched in terror as the woman picked up a patio chair and threw it at the glass door, cracking it. Thankfully, the police arrived within minutes. They found the woman still on the patio, muttering to herself. They later discovered she was not a new neighbor. She had a history of mental health issues and had escaped from a nearby facility. She had been watching Daniel's apartment for days, waiting for an opportunity. The scariest part? Daniel later found out that the woman who lived upstairs was on vacation and hadn't been home for a week. Our final story is a modern nightmare that uses technology to create a new kind of terror. This happened to a family who had just installed a new high-tech baby monitor in their 2-year-old daughter's room. The monitor connected to their phones via Wi-Fi, allowing them to see and hear their daughter, and even talk to her through a speaker on the device. One night, the mother, Sarah, was woken up by a strange noise coming from the monitor on her nightstand. It wasn't her daughter crying. It was a man's voice. A deep, gravelly voice she didn't recognize. She sat bolt upright in bed, listening in horror. The voice was whispering to her daughter, "Wake up, little one. Daddy's here." Sarah's husband, Mark, woke up to the sound of her gasping. They both stared at the monitor, frozen. They could see their daughter sleeping peacefully in her crib. But the voice continued, soft and menacing, coming directly from the speaker in her room. "What a pretty little girl. Daddy's watching you." Sarah felt a wave of nausea. Someone had hacked into their baby monitor. A complete stranger was watching their child sleep, talking to her through the device they had installed to keep her safe. Mark leaped out of bed and sprinted down the hall to their daughter's room. He burst in, his eyes scanning every corner, the closet, under the crib. The room was empty. But the voice from the monitor suddenly changed. It started laughing. A cold, cruel laugh that echoed through the silent house. Then it said, "You can't find me. I can see you, though. I see everything." Mark ripped the monitor from the wall and unplugged it. They held their daughter, trembling, for the rest of the night, too scared to sleep. They reported the incident to the police and the manufacturer of the baby monitor. They discovered that their Wi-Fi network wasn't secure, which allowed a hacker to gain access to their devices, including the camera in their child's bedroom. They had unknowingly opened a window for a predator to look directly into the most private and sacred space in their home. And that uncertainty is perhaps the most terrifying part of all. These stories aren't meant to make you live in fear, but they are a stark reminder that the world isn't always as safe as it seems. Lock your doors, secure your networks, and never assume that a friendly face is a friendly person.